Coinbase right now is fighting back against the SEC. To be a little bit more specific, something just came out that I think is absolutely juicy. And even though it might not matter because they won't win it, isn't that the story of our lives? Now, before we move on again, guys, make sure you press that like button. Let's get this video to at least 700 likes right now because this is pretty huge. Take a look at this. So, the SEC versus Coinbase lawsuit. What has just happened? Well, apparently, Coinbase really doesn't think that this lawsuit that was brought against them is actually fair. And so there's something which they filed today. And I think it's best said by the chief legal officer of Coinbase themselves. They said today, Coinbase filed our answer and notice of intent to file a motion to dismiss the SEC case against us. You can read our response for yourself. Our arguments speak for themselves as well. We welcome dialogue anytime with any regulator, including the SEC, and we believe new legislation and rulemaking is the right path forward. But the claims in this case go far beyond existing law and should be dismissed. So there's two things attached, right? This initial point here is basically Coinbase's answer to all the SEC's complaints. They basically say, hey, this is our reasoning for that, this is our reasoning for that, and how the SEC might not have the authority to claim all this. Their claims are kind of strange. They don't have the power, or they're trying to get more power. There's a lot that Coinbase is claiming here in this full-on document. It's huge. But there's also specifically the motion to dismiss, which just got filed. And this is a little bit more specific. Summary of motion: the SEC can pursue its claims only if the tokens and staking services it has identified are securities, and they are not. The claims must therefore be dismissed. That's basically Coinbase's main sentence right now. The SEC is basing all their facts on the idea that all the cryptos that Coinbase is facilitating the trade in are securities, but they can't back that up because they don't have the authority. And so, again, we've seen this in the Ripple case. We've seen this in so many different crypto cases that the authority tries something based upon, well, I'd say null or void arguments. And so guys like Ripple, guys like the SEC, like Coinbase here, are trying to just say, hey, court, throw it out because it doesn't make sense. Most of the time, like a lot of you guys have already pointed out, the court does still want to pull through because they do want to see arguments, etc., etc. But I believe that this, from Coinbase's side, is quite fair. The SEC makes so ridiculously many assumptions. Again, this is all based upon the idea that all the cryptos that the SEC just put there are all securities. Otherwise, this doesn't work. And again, when asked a while ago, so does that mean that all the other cryptos on the platform are then not securities? They said, well, we'll leave that for our own future to decide. We'll see how that goes. We reserve that right. Another point is Coinbase had to sue the SEC, which again, the court does know, to sit down and get some answers going. And they still basically said no, or, well, they didn't say no, but they just didn't really respond to Coinbase wanting to sit down to make some proper rules. And we can sit on more and more about them basically sitting down with Coinbase to go over all the rules as to what could let them allow a crypto to be traded. If you guys remember, when XRP was getting on Coinbase, they went through such a rigorous process, I believe because it was mostly discussion with the internal team at Coinbase, partially because of the SEC's remarks. And I also believe, still quite rightfully so, that Coinbase took XRP down a while ago, mostly because of the SEC's quote-unquote advice. But I can't back that up. Now, we've also talked about this before, but Coinbase is now basically fighting the same fight that Ripple is, which is why we explained already a dozen times before that the whole Ripple debacle is going to get so much easier because all these different crypto companies are going to have to fight the same fight, except just 2 years later or so. But this means more and more pressure on the SEC to prove their case. And again, their case being that the regulations are clear, that Ripple, Coinbase, etc., 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 had fair enough notice, that they were warned, that they should have known, and that all the cryptos, I guess XRP and all the cryptos on Coinbase, or most of them at least, are securities, and that the SEC is within their right to operate like this. And another thing can be said about the whole staking debacle. It's a little second issue at hand. Coinbase also gives a lot of receipts here for the understanding between the SEC and Coinbase. For example, in 2019 and 2020, they undertook extensive efforts with the SEC to develop a path to register an SEC-regulated ATS, and they went over all these different security parts, etc. Specifically, in December 2019, Coinbase presented a detailed action plan to the staff on its efforts to activate its 2 dormant broker-dealers and to obtain necessary approval from the agency and from the Financial Industry Regulator Authority, FINRA. Coinbase updated the staff on these efforts in June of 2020 and sought further guidance on how to get registered platform operative. Coinbase never received such guidance and ultimately withdrew its applications. Point being here, Coinbase did try, and if the SEC now still claims that all this stuff is clear, it's just an uphill battle. We've talked about this before, but right now it's getting juicier and juicier because Coinbase is really fighting back, and they're showing a lot of receipts, guys. This right here, I'm not sure how much of this is just Coinbase backing it up, but this is 177 pages, just for fun reference. And there are so many of the SEC's claims that Coinbase is just saying, wrong on. It's funny. And one of their most central points, again, as a nature of the proceeding and relief sought, the SEC brings this action pursuant to Section 20B of the Securities Act and a couple of others. And Coinbase just says no. Coinbase avers that the commission lacks authority to bring these actions. And that's, again, going to be, in my opinion, the central question at hand. Is the SEC authorized to actually go and bring all these crypto deals up? And a similar thing applies to proof of stake and staking as a concept. Can Coinbase control staking in the degree that, the staking itself, which can be helped out by Coinbase, is just like the providing of some sort of service for the blockchain itself, for the protocol. It's not Coinbase actually giving out money, so to speak. It's the protocol, which again becomes a really difficult discussion. But those are questions that are now going to have to be discussed, which is once more why the whole Coinbase case is so important and why it's beautiful to see Coinbase fight this actually in court instead of just walking onto the side saying, okay, we'll just pay something. No, to actually get these rules in. And I hope they're going to have the same sort of fight in them as Ripple has, to not sit down like little babies and just accept whatever comes out, but actually get to the bottom for the entirety of crypto. I don't expect it. I think Coinbase is a little bit too selfish for that, but I do hope they're going to be able to do that. By the way, a little side note, let me know in the comment section down below what part of the world you're watching this from. Right now, I'm recording this from Thailand, on an island, to be a little bit more specific. Going to be doing a couple of really cool things, and if you want to be updated with my life like that, you can follow me over on Instagram if you want to. But I should also once more state that if you want to get more of a community sense, right? You want to be more up to date with all these things. You want to be with like-minded people, hopefully make more money. I recommend you guys to join the Discord. I've left a link down below. And it's basically just a group of crypto people that hopefully can help each other. Don't be too personal because there are some creeps in there, logically. So don't spill your entire beans on, your life history and everything and the name of your cat. But for some guidance potentially from peers and for people like-minded, I just hope that in a group together, people masterminding, you can hopefully get to a better standard, hopefully make more money, hopefully do good together, share some information, share some thoughts, share some trading insights, all that stuff. And so I'm going to be pushing that more. Discord is down below. Now, it's unfortunate that most lawyers over in the US are not awake yet to share, or I guess to elaborate upon the news which we've just gotten. And what in the world is this guy doing? What is this? This is a very popular crypto Twitter type of guy that in the meme coin space that people give a lot of money. What is he? He's going on a little bit of a tangent. He's trying to get canceled, perhaps banned. I'm not sure. And now, on that same note, I'd like to address one interesting thought, which has been that people say, you know what? The moment that Mr. Kennedy comes in, right, because he's so pro-Bitcoin, things are going to change. He might be our savior. And even though I like the idea, I like the philosophy, right? In reality, I think things are less beautiful than might seem. In a similar sense, we thought that Gary Gensler, this is some insights, when he came in, that it was going to be the savior of crypto, saving us from Mr. Jay Clayton. But just know that whatever they say, right, whatever they've said in history, Gary Gensler said a couple years ago, hey, 75% of all cryptos are not securities. Algorand is juicy, this, that, this. He reversed on every single thing he said in the past. The same thing can be said for Mr. Kennedy here. Right now he's saying, hey, I believe that every single person in the U.S. should have the right to hold their Bitcoin and yada, yada, yada. I'm still not 1,000% sure he's going to keep that promise to reform the rules on crypto and all that stuff. I'm just a little bit more hesitant now that we've seen Gary Gensler come in really, really hot. He was saying all these good things about crypto, and the moment he got into power, he's like, I'm going to be the crypto devil man. I'm going to be the freaking haymaker here. I'm going to slam everybody into the ground. So all I'm saying is just be a little bit more cautious to just accept whatever they say as the obvious truth, because even though they might be thinking about it that way right now, it does not mean they're going to be thinking the exact same way in the next couple of years, especially when it comes down to actually firing guys like Gary Gensler to get these rules off the ground. Anyway, I just wanted to quickly bring that to y'all's attention, the fact that Coinbase is right now fighting back like they promised. I sincerely hope the judge can understand that Coinbase is probably going to be on the right side of history by fighting for the idea that they tried to get rules and the SEC said, well, they didn't respond. Hopefully the judge will also be looking at all these other cases and then just conclude, yeah, you know what, Coinbase, you are trying. You filed for an IPO. The SEC approved it. You are not facilitating a lot of the things the SEC says. The SEC does not have authority. These things are not securities. And all those points, at least one of them should be really, really valid and proper enough a reason as to why the SEC should just get back to the drawing board and rethink their strategy. But yeah, guys, make sure you put the notification bell on. This was pretty crazy news. I have not really seen anybody on YouTube talk about it yet. Hopefully we're one of the first. If you want to be notified as soon as something crazy comes out, make sure you put that notification bell on. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video, most likely, no, I know for sure, later today.